I'm Meryl Streep. Even at 65, I still wake up before the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. It's a habit ingrained from 40 years of teaching that hasn't changed since retirement. I quietly rise, surveying this spacious bedroom that Don, my late husband, left for me. It's been 2 years since he passed, but I still feel his presence strongly. Sighing, I put on my robe and step into the hallway. Before heading downstairs, I peek into my granddaughter Emma's room. At 4 years old, she sleeps like an angel. Her golden curls spread across the pillow, her little chest rising and falling steadily. I can't help but smile. On my way to the kitchen, I pass by my son Brad and daughter-in-law Jennifer's room. The door is firmly shut. They rarely get up early. Brad works late into the night, and Jennifer, well, she has her own life. As I brew coffee in the kitchen, I gaze out the window at the backyard. It's a quiet morning in the Los Angeles suburbs. I see the Johnsons next door taking their dog for a walk. I give them a small wave, and they return a warm smile. Coffee in hand, I settle onto the living room sofa. Looking at the family photos on the wall, I reflect on life here. When Brad suggested we live together after Don passed, I was truly happy. But reality turned out a bit different from the ideal. Brad is an excellent lawyer, completely absorbed in his work. He leaves early and returns late, hardly spending time with the family. As for Jennifer, the former model seems to live in a different world. She shows little interest in taking care of Emma. In the end, I'm the one mainly looking after Emma. Preparing breakfast, taking her to and from kindergarten, snacks, baths, bedtime. Honestly, it can be tiring. But when I see Emma's smile, all the fatigue vanishes. At 7 a.m., I go to wake Emma. "Good morning, sweetheart," I call, and Emma opens her eyes wide, exclaiming, "Grandma," with a beaming smile as she jumps into my arms. This moment is the happiest part of my day. Hugging Emma, I return to the kitchen. As I prepare breakfast, Brad finally appears. "Morning, Mom." "Emma," he says, quickly downing a cup of coffee. "I have an important trial today." "Might be late," he adds, rushing out. Emma looks a bit sad. Around 9 a.m., Jennifer gets up. She nods a quick, "Good morning," to us and grabs yogurt from the fridge. Emma excitedly tells her, "Mommy, I'm going to draw pictures at kindergarten today," but Jennifer just responds with a curt, "Oh, that's nice." After dropping Emma off at kindergarten, I go shopping at the local Whole Foods. While selecting organic vegetables and fruits, I chat with Martha at the checkout. "Meryl, it's wonderful how you're taking care of your granddaughter," Martha says. "Yes, Emma is my joy," I reply, inwardly sighing. Back home, folding laundry, Linda from next door visits. "Meryl, are you coming to the community meeting tomorrow?" she asks. "Yes, of course." "I'll bring Emma," I answer. Linda hesitates, then asks, "And Jennifer?" I shake my head slightly. Linda nods understandingly. At 3 p.m., I pick Emma up from kindergarten. On the way home, she proudly shows me the picture she drew today. I want to show it to Mommy, Emma says. Of course, she'll be delighted, I reply, but inside, I feel a twinge of anxiety. When we get home, Jennifer is on the sofa, looking at her smartphone. Emma tries to show her the drawing, but Jennifer says, "Later, honey," without really paying attention. Seeing Emma's disappointed face, my heart aches. As I prepare dinner, I ponder the future of this family. I need to do something for my beloved granddaughter. But what? With these thoughts weighing on my mind, another day was coming to an end. That day started as an ordinary Tuesday. After completing my morning routine and dropping Emma off at kindergarten, I headed to Target for some shopping. As I walked through the store, putting Emma's favorite fruit snacks and Brad's preferred coffee beans in the cart, I checked my phone while waiting in line at the checkout. There was a message from Jennifer. Emma's not feeling well and left kindergarten early. I picked her up. I frowned. Why didn't Jennifer contact me? If Emma was unwell, I needed to get home right away. I quickly finished paying and hurried to the parking lot. When I arrived home, the entrance was eerily quiet. "I'm home," I called out, but there was no response. As I entered the living room, I saw Jennifer on the sofa, engrossed in her smartphone. The TV was on low volume. "Where's Emma?" I asked. Without looking up, Jennifer replied, "In her room. Probably sleeping." Feeling uneasy, I climbed the stairs to Emma's room. When I opened the door, the sight before me nearly stopped my heart. Emma was lying on the floor, foam coming from her mouth, her eyes rolled back. "Emma!" I cried out, rushing to her side. "Emma, can you hear me? It's Grandma." No response. I desperately shook her body. "Jennifer! Quick! Call 911. I shouted downstairs. I heard hurried footsteps, and Jennifer burst into the room. She looked shocked for a moment upon seeing Emma's condition but seemed to regain her composure quickly. "Don't overreact, Meryl. Kids go through these things. She'll be fine soon." I stared at Jennifer in disbelief. "Are you kidding me? Can't you see Emma's condition? Call 911 now." But Jennifer shook her head. "It's really okay. No need to panic. Look, the foam is already subsiding, see?" Indeed, the foam from Emma's mouth was lessening. However, she was still unconscious. I made a decision. "Fine. If you won't call, I'll call an Uber." I pulled out my smartphone and quickly opened the Uber app. My hands were shaking, making it difficult to operate. Finally, I managed to request a ride, which showed an estimated arrival time of 5 minutes. "Jennifer, get Emma's jacket," I instructed. Jennifer reluctantly got up and retrieved Emma's jacket from the closet. I lifted Emma and put the jacket on her. "Where are you going?" Jennifer asked. "UCLA Medical Center. It's the nearest large hospital from here." Jennifer's eyes widened. There? But isn't it expensive? The insurance. This is no time to worry about that. I couldn't contain my anger any longer. Emma's life could be in danger. Just then, my smartphone vibrated, notifying me that the Uber had arrived. I'm going. Contact Brad, I said as I carried Emma downstairs and headed for the front door. The Uber driver looked at us with surprise. In a hurry? The driver asked. Yes, please take us to UCLA Medical Center. As quickly as possible. Once in the car, I laid Emma on my lap. She was still unconscious. I stroked her head, almost in prayer. It's okay, Emma. Grandma's here. We'll be at the hospital soon. As the car started moving, the scenery outside the window blurred past. My mind was filled with worry for Emma and anger towards Jennifer. Why was she so indifferent? How could she not see Emma's dangerous condition? And regret towards myself also welled up. I should have gone home earlier. I should have returned immediately when I heard Emma wasn't feeling well. The UCLA Medical Center building came into view. We're almost there, Emma, I whispered softly. As the car pulled up to the emergency entrance, I quickly opened the door. Thank you, I said to the driver as I carried Emma out of the car. Hospital staff noticed us and immediately rushed over with a stretcher. What happened? A young female nurse asked. My granddaughter, foam from her mouth, unconscious, I explained, out of breath. The nurses quickly transferred Emma to the stretcher and rushed her to the treatment room. I tried to follow, but another nurse stopped me. Please wait. We need you to complete some paperwork at the reception first. Confused but compliant, I headed to the reception desk. My mind was blank, and I could barely answer the questions. After completing the paperwork, I sat in the waiting room. Looking at the clock, I realized it had been less than 30 minutes since we left home. Yet it felt like an eternity. Would Emma be okay? And what would happen now? As anxiety and worry tightened my chest, I waited for the doctor's diagnosis. Sitting on the hard chair in the waiting room, with only the ticking of the clock breaking the silence, I was lost in thought, praying for Emma. It was 30 minutes later when Brad finally rushed into the hospital. Mom, how's Emma? He asked, out of breath. We don't know yet. We're waiting for the doctor's diagnosis, I replied. Brad let out a deep sigh. Just then, an older male doctor in a white coat approached us. Are you Emma Pitt's family? He asked. When we nodded, he introduced himself. I'm Dr. Fauci, the attending physician. Dr. Fauci checked his chart and began explaining in a calm tone. Emma's condition is now stable. Brad and I let out sighs of relief at those words. However, the doctor's next statement shattered our sense of relief. Our tests show that Emma accidentally ingested kitchen detergent. Detergent? I exclaimed involuntarily. Brad's face turned pale. Dr. Fauci continued, fortunately, we were able to treat her early, so it didn't lead to a more serious situation. However, he paused for a moment and looked at us seriously. If it had been a little later, it could have been life-threatening. I felt the strength drain from my body at those words. Brad covered his face with his hands, his shoulders shaking. Emma is now under observation in the intensive care unit. She'll need to be monitored closely for the next 24 hours, but her life is not in danger. As Dr. Fauci finished his explanation, a nurse brought Jennifer in. She looked confused and couldn't even look at us. Is Emma okay?" Jennifer asked in a small voice. Dr. Fauci explained the situation again. The color drained from Jennifer's face. If it had been a little later, it could have been life-threatening. She repeated the doctor's words, starting to tremble. I. Jennifer leaned against the wall, unable to form words. Dr. Fauci cleared his throat and continued, "In cases like this, the hospital has a reporting obligation. I should inform you that Child Protective Services may get involved." At those words, we all froze. Brad managed to squeeze out, "CPS." Dr. Fauci nodded quietly. Yes. They prioritize the child's safety. They'll likely investigate the home environment and caregiving situation. Jennifer turned pale and stumbled into a chair. "This is a dream." "Yes, it must be a bad dream," she mumbled. I was overwhelmed with mixed emotions. Joy at Emma's safety, anger towards Jennifer, and anxiety about what was to come. Dr. Fauci, seeing our state, said gently, "For now, let's focus on Emma's recovery. Visiting hours will start tomorrow morning, but we'll notify you immediately if there's any change." After the doctor left, a heavy silence enveloped us. Brad let out a deep sigh and stood up, staring out the window. Jennifer broke down crying, and I rubbed her back, worried about what would happen next. A month after Emma's accident, our family was slowly beginning to change. Jennifer started attending therapy twice a week. Though she seemed anxious at first, I could see her expression gradually softening. One morning, as I was making coffee in the kitchen, Jennifer appeared. "Good morning, Meryl," she said. This was a scene I couldn't have imagined before. "Good morning, Jennifer. Did you sleep well?" "Yes, little by little." She smiled. Brad was changing too. He told us he had talked with his boss and arranged to come home early 2 days a week. I used to laugh at the phrase work-life balance, but now I understand its importance, he said. One Friday evening, Brad came home earlier than usual. "Everyone, I have a surprise," he announced. "Let's go to Disneyland next weekend." Emma jumped up and down with joy, and Jennifer smiled happily. I felt a warmth in my chest. When the weekend arrived, we set out for Disneyland early in the morning. Emma was so excited she sang Disney songs the whole way there. Brad, while driving, would occasionally glance at Emma in the rearview mirror and smile. Jennifer, in the passenger seat, was looking at the map and asking Emma, "Which attraction should we go to next?" Upon arriving at the park, Emma's eyes sparkled as she looked around. I want to meet Mickey, she shouted. Brad said, "All right, let's go find Mickey," and hoisted Emma onto his shoulders. We enjoyed various attractions throughout the day. At lunchtime, Jennifer gently asked, "Emma, would you like to eat a hamburger and fries here?" When Emma nodded, Jennifer happily placed the order. Seeing her take the initiative to care for Emma made me feel warm inside. In the evening, as we watched the fireworks, Brad hugged us all. "I'm so happy we could spend time like this," he said. Jennifer nodded, tears in her eyes. On the way home, Emma fell asleep, tired from the day's excitement. The car was quiet, but filled with a happy atmosphere. The following week, I attended a local PTA meeting. When I introduced myself as Emma's grandmother, Meryl, I received warm words of welcome from those around me. "It's wonderful that you're participating in the PTA while taking care of your granddaughter," one mother said. Through my PTA activities, I deepened my connections with other families in the community. One day, Emma's teacher told me, "Emma has been so lively lately," which made me happy. At home, Brad started reading picture books with Emma after coming home from work. Jennifer, too, began making snacks with Emma and taking her to the park. One evening, after putting Emma to bed, we were having tea in the living room. "Hey," Jennifer began. "I think I want to work again." Brad and I looked at each other in surprise. "But this time, part-time." "I want to cherish my time with Emma too," she continued. "That's a wonderful idea," I said. Brad nodded, saying, "I'll support you." That night, before going to bed, I looked at my husband's photo. "Dawn, are you watching? Our family is slowly but surely growing stronger." Stars twinkled outside the window. It was as if my husband was smiling. Tomorrow, another new day would begin. A new day full of hope for our family. On the morning of Emma's 5th birthday, the whole house was filled with a celebratory mood. Brad and Jennifer had gotten up early to decorate the living room with balloons and garlands. I went to pick up the special organic birthday cake I had ordered from Whole Foods. In the afternoon, Emma changed into her new dress and ran into the living room, her eyes sparkling. "Wow! It's beautiful," she exclaimed. The whole family gathered around the table, and we sang "Happy Birthday" as we lit the candles on the cake. Emma closed her eyes to make a wish, then blew out the candles, and we all applauded. As we ate the cake, I quietly looked around at the family. Brad was gently wiping cream off Emma's cheek, and Jennifer was lovingly stroking Emma's hair. How much we've grown since that incident a year ago. We've learned to overcome difficulties, understand each other, and support one another. Now, our bond is much stronger than before. Looking at Emma's smile, I whispered in my heart, "Dawn, are you celebrating with us too?" Our family is surely heading towards a bright future.